This year's DuPont jury chose from among 510 television and radio entries. The members of the jury are Ann Koppel, she's director of the broadcast program here at Columbia, and chairs the group of 9 that includes Philip S. Maloney, Bertie Baskin, Kathy Crossley, John Dingus, Cindy Kennard, John Martin, Al Tompkins, and Bill Wheatley. Would you please stand? Thank you. Before the jury met, 88 screeners, many of them former DuPont winners, evaluated the entries. Collectively, the DuPont jury reviewed more than 200 hours of television and radio programs. It assembled at Columbia for 3 days in October to select the 13 winners, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for your time and dedication to upholding journalistic standards for the profession, and most important, for the public. Our next DuPont winner demonstrates that covering security has become a news beat in itself since 9/11/2001. This winning 6-part series for WBBM in Chicago undisclosed the extent to which local reporting resonates nationally. It began with a tip from a flight attendant at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. And that led reporter Dave Savini and the investigative team at WBBM to a much bigger story about airport security.
Kathy Brown, a United Airlines flight attendant for 9 years, has now turned whistleblower.
I feel like the public needs to know how our planes are managed, how we deal with bomb threats.
Brown says last month on October 5th, a note was found on a flight coming into O'Hare. It was a handwritten threat to blow up the airplane.
We simply wanted to have that plane properly searched.
Brown says the flight crew had been told the airplane had been swept by bomb-sniffing dogs when it hadn't been.
It was the cabin cleaners.
Cabin cleaners.
Correct.
They're the ones that did the inspection of the bomb.
Yes.
In another incident, in July 2004, reported online by a flight attendant, casings for .22 caliber bullets like these were found on a United plane headed for Chicago. When it landed, she says cleaners did the, quote, security sweep.
Cleaning crews are not always checked at the terminals like passengers. If they drive to work, they can enter through the airport back gate into the employee parking lot, bypassing security and weapons checks.
Our undercover cameras roll as cars drive past security without being searched. Inside, it's the same.
What about bags and lunchboxes and things like that?
Those certainly are checked. Nothing's checked.
Our 2 investigators found ID badges that give workers access to roam the airport are missing. Thousands of badges not turned in by employees who quit or were fired.
This is one of those badges. It gives incredible access to those who have it, including airline employees and private contractors.
What could you get into? Where could you go in the airport?
Many places. Many places.
This hidden camera video from O'Hare Airport shows the access badge holders get. Once past the employee security gate, you board a bus. It takes you to the tarmac. You are then dropped off next to the airplanes. You walk by luggage carts underneath the aircraft itself, then up a stairway. The door to enter the terminal is not locked. No code is needed to walk inside. You have bypassed security and metal detectors. Your bags were not searched. You have smuggled a weapon. A database we obtained from Chicago's Department of Aviation shows in just the last 3 years, there were 3,760 missing badges. Who didn't turn them in? Among others, former airline employees, private contractors, airplane cleaners, and delivery men, even state and local law enforcement officers, FBI agents, and federal air marshals. How did we learn about the missing badges? From confidential records tossed in this trash can.
I'd just like to find out why you guys are throwing this stuff away.
We found names of people who did not return their badges. We also found social security numbers, home addresses, birth certificates, state IDs, even FBI fingerprint and signed badge application forms that were thrown into the trash without being shredded.
You guys are throwing out people's personnel records, and social security cards, and ID badge application forms unshredded. Okay, I'll have to find out what's going on.
Did you turn it in?
No, I have that.
She says she quit working for Scrub in October, but still has her badge. Records indicate it was active for weeks.
And that badge would get you on a plane, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Jorgelina's attorney is not a criminal. She says she just forgot to turn in her badge. Nationwide, false information and stolen identities have been used to get these badges. Some airports are more vulnerable than others, depending on how they control the badges. Transportation Security Administration officials say what we found is, quote, totally unacceptable, and they are launching an investigation.
And here to accept the DuPont Award to WBBM is investigative reporter Dave Savini.
Well, what can I say? Climbing into dirty garbage dumpsters isn't something they teach you in journalism school, but it can be a useful tool in searching for the truth. And, you know, in this case, I could say a million things up here, but we were driven by the terrorist acts and the pain inflicted upon our country during 9/11 throughout this investigation. One of the reasons why we persisted and continued to peel the onion for over a year now. The garbage that I was digging in belonged to private contractors, as you can see, who had secure access to airplanes. For months I collected bags of that garbage. I just didn't go in that dumpster. I went into these 6-foot dumpsters, where I actually fell in at times. And you ever been in an empty dumpster with dumpster sludge? It's quite a feeling. For months I collected bags of garbage and I brought them home to my garage, and they were filled with disgusting stuff. Half-eaten sandwiches, cigarette buttons, coffee grinds, you name it, you get the idea. My wife started to question my sanity. She would greet me at the door with rubber gloves and a can of Lysol. But inside those bags of garbage was a gold mine of documents, confidential files, and a story of mismanagement and the lack of security at one of our nation's busiest airports. Like a needle in a haystack, my producer Michelle Youngerman and I, and by the way, she couldn't be here tonight because she's very pregnant with her first child. Youngerman and I found one critical piece of paper detailing how badges that allow workers access to planes were missing. It was our biggest hit. She filed a Freedom of Information request and received a computer disk that revealed, in fact, there were almost 4,000 of these badges missing. We knew we found an incredible story because the very next day, the Department of Aviation asked us for that computer disk back. Of course, we said no, but we continued on. Those badges allow people through that secure gate. There's nothing stopping them from bringing a weapon into our international airport. Nothing at all. They could have anything they wanted in their trunk and they weren't being checked. In the wrong hands, they could lead to devastation. Our CBS bosses, Joe Ahern, Carol Fowler, Marta LeBeau, all along gave us their full support with what is now turned into a 14-part investigation, has led to over 100 warrants, 36 arrests, and numerous government investigations. I've been called to testify before a state Senate Homeland Security Committee and before the federal government. Investigations are underway. I'd like to thank Doug Longini from 48 Hours, who's always been a mentor of mine, who's always there to whisper in my ear. I'd like to thank my mom, my in-laws, and my wife, my beautiful wife who puts up with me all the time. My 2 little children, Desiree and Dominic, are here. They still can't figure out why their dad jumps in garbage cans. As a team, we rolled up our sleeves, we were meticulous and tenacious, but most importantly, we used the power of journalism to hopefully